So I'm just going to give a quick thought, more of a testimony at the moment. There's been a few situations this week where I've been in communication with people who've gone through very difficult experiences in life. In one case, a friend gone through a very awful tragedy, losing a family member. Another friend going through serious illness himself, and his wife, who's very frail, then catching COVID-19, and we don't know quite what will happen, but obviously the situation looks pretty difficult at the moment. I'm aware of other situations where people are really hurting. I had some conversations this week with people who've gone through grief in a community, people who came alongside folks at the Grenfell Tower disaster, where a tall block of flats came alight and was just a horrific incinerator. Really, it was in London a couple of years ago or so, and led to 72 deaths out of the 200 people living in that block, and people who had come alongside those families. I had a long chat to somebody in our city in Bristol about the communities that are being affected by COVID-19 and the nature of bereavements, the nature of grieving, the nature of struggling to have memorials because it's difficult to all get together and do that. And so people can experience these very deep griefs. And I had another time praying with some people who work with, they actually work with nomadic people who are tent dwellers. And I was thinking so much about the story of Hagar. Like Ruth, like Tamar, these sort of examples of women who suffered greatly and were exploited really in various different ways. And the Bible has a number of these stories, and yet they end up with being kind of people that are weaved in. Not Hagar exactly, but certainly Tamar and Ruth, people weaved into the DNA of Jesus. And Hagar's amazing story is how, despite being rejected and sent out into the desert, and that's a very real issue, if you're living as a nomad in a desert place and you suddenly cut off from all support, it's dry, it's very dry, there's no water. She was in a desperate place, and how the Lord was the living one who saw her, who met with her in her desperate need. And we see that in the book of Ruth as well. And we see this sense of how the Lord delivers her, a woman who seems to have no hope for the future. And actually she comes into this situation in Israel, taking refuge under the wings of the God of Israel. That's how Boaz begins to talk about her. And yet seemed to have nothing really, no stake in the land, no rights to inheritance, a poor person who could just perhaps glean on the edge of the fields, no opportunity of a husband to support her in the future, and really the last on the list in terms of someone who might find a future husband. But we see the mercy of God, and we recognise that mercy reaches out to us in our desperate times of need, and the grace of God brings us in to be included and accepted and restored, and we really pray for that, for anybody who might be going through those kind of experiences at the moment, whatever that might be, a tragedy, sense of rejection, a sense of being the outsider, a sense of being desolate without hope and not knowing what the future holds. My prayer is just that God would encounter you right now, and I'll continue these talks on the book of Ruth, and hopefully some of these thoughts might be helpful as well. All right, God bless. Bye.